The G Wade Podcast with Deacon Dirty.
When it comes to moving in timing, I guess if you are, I guess, settled within yourself. Let's use an entrepreneur. We out here hustling, we grind.
Yeah.
I just posted something just about that. Hustle, grinding all my life, Nipsey Hustle. You know what I'm saying? And so that is like the focus. I would love for you to come to the studio, WadeWorksStudios, but in the future, definitely would love to have you come through. We'll do a panel and have you talk with the women and men together. You know what I'm saying?
I'm here for
it. But the entrepreneur, you go to my IG page, it kind of reeks of I'm working. You know what I'm saying? How does one incorporate the love? Not personal, self, but a love life, or the dating world, a dating life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I used to use the word balance a lot, and I've learned to really use that sparingly, because in many times balance does not mean the same things for two different people.
Gotcha.
First of all, what you can handle are two different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so some people balance multitasking well, others not so much. So instead of balance, I use the word priorities.
Okay.
So what are your priorities in order? For me, they are my spiritual life. After my spiritual life, which encompasses self-love,
mm-hmm.
then I would go to my family, then I would go to my friends, and then my business. And it's really in that order. And so that helps me prioritize when I know if something comes up. The business can wait a moment because I got a family issue.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have a spiritual self-love. I need to pull away. I realize I'm not in the best space.
Okay.
I need to figure out, take some time in the mountains, get it, whatever it is. You can fit it in with priorities, and you can give yourself, by having and keeping, which is what I do with a lot of my clients, have them do a better job of their calendars, managing their time better. But they come in thinking we're just going to talk love, and we end up talking about what's on your calendar.
Gotcha.
How are you budgeting? Why are you having to work so hard? How much money are you wasting that you could work less and still live the lifestyle you have?
Yeah.
So you could make time.
Mm-hmm.
And why is doing that one extra thing to make you look like you were more successful so important when you could enjoy life with someone? Here's my thought. And this is why I say it.
Mm-hmm.
G.K. Chesterton has a quote that says, every act is an act of self-limitation. To choose anything is to limit yourself from everything else. So for instance, if you were to go forward, you can't go backwards. If you were to choose to go up, you can't go down. If you were to choose to be on this call, you couldn't be on another call. If you were to choose to go to Publix, you couldn't be at Kroger at the same time. Everything is limiting yourself whenever you make a decision.
Gotcha.
And you have to understand what limitations are. So if you are someone who has made a decision to have a child early on, it's only you, then that's a limitation. It's a blessing, but it's a limitation as well.
Okay.
So that decision also brings a limitation of your time, your energy, and your resources. Understanding what that limitation means, now you have to operate inside the limitation. And so if you decide to have a relationship, you got to understand that's a limitation.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand it's a limitation.
Yeah.
It should not be the sacrificial lamb. Your relationship should not take a back seat because you want the success. You have to understand that a relationship has its own requirements, its own limitations, and you have to honor them. And so that's what has to be taught, is that relationships aren't the afterthought. They're not just the complement to something else I'm doing. It's like, well, this meal, which is my life of success and entrepreneurship, comes with the side rolls. That's not how, that's not how you should look at it. All of that should be on the same plate.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is when you look at it that way and you treat it like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you prioritize things and you do better with your calendar and you do better with your budget, you're able to better fit in the time that is absolutely essential to make a relationship work.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned, I heard you mention this in an interview. You said plan more than you push.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Oh, that is, when I say absolutely essential to your life, because in the art of planning, when you have really sat with something, understood, done a SWOT analysis of its strengths, weaknesses, of its opportunities and its threats, really understanding what is going to be required when you do this. So a lot of people have great ideas, and this is what it means in simplistic terms. A lot of people have great ideas and they want to do amazing things. First time I wrote my first book, I just thought, it's writing, and then I'll get a cover and I'll get a ISBN number and we'll sell it, right? Did not understand the amount of work that it took to write a book, to edit a book, to promote a book, to consistently push a book, consistently talk about a book. Did not understand at all. And so my concept, I was pushing a lot more than I should have if I would have really planned.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I ended up expelling more energy than I should have. But also on the flip side of that, being able to plan allows you to align better with the things that you want to achieve.
Okay.
And when you're aligned with purpose and your passion, when those two things align together, your purpose and your passion, when those two things align together, you find that things come easier. So even though it's a grind, it's not a hard grind, right? For instance, I use this analogy a lot, and I love this analogy of a person with a kite in the wind. So you got the person that's grinding and they got the kite in their hand and they're running. There's no wind, so they're running,
right,
running down the meadow, running down the field, and the kite's going higher, but they're using all their energy. Eventually, the kite's going to come down because they're going to lose their breath. Now, they've accomplished what they wanted, but it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah, okay.
But then you have the person that is intentional. They plan for when it's going to be windy. And they are able to go in the same field, stand still, push the kite in the air, do the push, and the kite will start going higher. And they don't have to exert anything but holding on to their purpose. And that is where planning comes in handy, because when you plan, you end up now having more energy to invite other things into your life because you're not leaving exhausted. A lot of people leave their business and entrepreneurial lives exhausted because they haven't planned. And so now when they're trying to date and have relationships, my God, that is hard work to answer. You come in there and just want to fall out. Fall asleep on the phone.
Right.
Like, babe, hello. Hello. The first time that's cute. The first time they're like, oh, he fell asleep with me. And then like the fifth time they're like, wait a minute.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. I got you. I like that example. That is a very good example, in fact, because you're right. You do exert a lot more energy when you sit there running down that whatever to get that kite to stay in the air versus letting the wind do what the wind do.
Do what it's going to do, and I promise you it will. I promise you that the wind blows at the right time in the right season. The wind blows, and learning to just be patient sometimes, to pause, to wait. I tell this to my clients who are looking for mates all the time. I say, sometimes it's not the season. Sometimes you need to do some preparatory work in order to really get ready for the relationship that you want, so that some of the big ticket items, like if you're just entering school, you're trying to get a new degree, maybe you need to not focus on a relationship right now until you get used to the system, until you get used to the schedule, until you get used to the workflow and the expectations from your professors. Maybe if you just have a child or a parent passed and now more responsibility is put on you, maybe you need to pause on seeking for a few months and figure out what your life is going to look like. Stop bringing people into your confusion. Stop bringing people into your lack of preparedness. Really bring people into what everybody wants to be in. And nobody wants to be in a raging river. Everybody wants to be in a gentle stream. So when you have the opportunity to really be in a gentle place where you know what's going to flow, then you can start inviting people in.